random, completely random. I'm dropping my son off at school. We're walking on the school grounds. I come across this lady, and she has this beautiful, beautiful big afro, but it's copper colored, like the new penny color. Beautiful on that chocolate skin she has. And I walked up to her because I had seen her a couple of times just from going back and forth to school every day. And I walked up to her and I said, "Oh my God, honey, that color, that it looks beautiful. It's gorgeous." And she's like, "Thank you." And then we're walking off the school grounds. It's probably like 2 blocks. I mean, it was quite a walk. But anyway, we were just having a conversation about natural hair and how we both grew up, where perms and straightening your hair was pushed on us. It was all we knew. That was the thing. That's what you were supposed to do. But her and I, as we were talking about how we're starting to see the natural hairstyles come out being worn more by both men and women. And we said it at the same time. It's freedom. It's freedom. It's really liberating once we accept it. You're free. Hello, everybody. Welcome. So I want to say hi to everybody that's in the chat. I want to introduce our panel. I hope no one got kicked off the stage. It seems like everybody's there. I'm going to change the format so that everyone can show up. Whose video? Let's see, a few people did get kicked off. I'll take off some of mine. Okay. I'll take off some of mine if that helps. So that video, that was an animated series. That was something that was done a few years ago by Sony. I'm just glad that they didn't kill off the mother's character. You know how those Disney films do it, right? So anyway, I know that each of you were able to identify with the different parts in that 6 minutes. When you're going in, you're getting natural, like, okay. And then your hairstyle doesn't turn out the way you had hoped it would. And then you end up and your hair is all over, and now you're ashamed to go out the house. You don't want to go anywhere. It was a lot of emotions there, even from the mom that was sick and lost her hair and had to go through the grow back process. Even from the standpoint of the dad that had to figure out what to do with the daughter's hair. So everyone, I feel, can relate to that little 6-minute short about the natural hair. So I want to just say hello again to everyone who's joined the virtual studio audience, everybody who's watching live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. We're even on our DTV channel for NCNMU and CHM DTV. So we are broadcasting live all over. It's the Type 4 experience. The launch of my new book is available on Amazon. So if you have Prime, you can get it in a day. Or 2, depending on your membership. So certainly go out, get the book. It's going to showcase my story. It is my memoir. But as I was writing it, I started thinking, some people could use some of these tips if they have hair like mine. So it evolved from being a memoir to now a guide. I heard from a very popular motivational speaker that said that when you tell your story, and telling your story can be someone else's survival guide. And that is what gave me the inspiration to just put it on print, what I was going through. Again, I've been natural since 2008, but even though I stopped getting a relaxer, I hadn't fully embraced the texture hair because I did other things. And I certainly say that in the book as you read through the pages there. But since we're on, everybody is on the feed. I'm excited. I'm glad everyone is here. I just want to begin by bringing in some of the panel. I'll introduce everyone one by one. You will hear your story. You know you're up. And everyone has a few minutes to talk about who they are, how you're related to the broadcast. And then we'll come back for the second half where we're just having a conversation about the culture. Happy Juneteenth, everyone. I know we said that amongst each other on the stage. I just want to say that to everybody watching. Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
Okay, so let's get started with the type 4 experience. Where is my copy? I have my author's proof. All right, I'm going to add this on to the stage for everyone to see. Please don't try to worry about reading that little print, because when you get the book, you will see it. I am going to start with the dedication of my book to my longtime hairstylist, and the dedication reads, between a few moves, hospitalizations, and loss of employment would begin my disconnection to blow-dried and flat iron hair. And to Tony, my longtime hairstylist, if it were not for her patience, guidance, and inspiration to keep going, I wouldn't have made it to the point where all of the hair on my head would be my natural hair texture. If it were not for her love for Black hair and her support to me psychologically through this journey, I may not have made it. Without her encouragement, I could have easily slipped back to what was familiar and comfortable, the perm. A special thanks to Miss Tony, Miss Sonia Fairley of Face Your Image Salon. I could not talk about hair, especially my hair, and not mention this phenomenal woman. Although I was not able to stay with Tony throughout my entire journey, I share my success with her. Cheers to both of us for a dream and vision fulfilled. This is just as much her victory and dream realized as it is mine. Cheers to you, Tony.
That is so nice. Hey.
Do we got her? We're going to pull this down from the exit the school screen where we got Miss Tony. There she is.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Look at her.
Hey, Tony.
Hey.
Look at her. She's doing hair now. See?
I'm next.
Love hair. So that is my dedication to there. And then I have just one other thing. We're going to keep things going, because again, this is something I know you guys can relate to. All right. So just an excerpt from the book. I have been going to Tony to get my hair done since 2006. Now, Tony's salon is in Naperville, and I lived in Chicago, which is 30 miles away minimally. I traveled faithfully to her because of the extra care she took into my hair. And y'all know, when you find someone that can do your hair just the way you like, whether you're a male or female, you will travel to them. Amen. And I know I'm not by myself when I say that either.
Not at all.
Amen.
All right. You know, so this is a photo from 2014 in Tony's salon in the first place she was at. Tony and I weren't quick about just cutting my hair, even if I wanted to cut my hair. Tony was against it if it weren't necessary. Right. Now, Tony and I weren't quick. There's a little typo there, don't worry. So if I wanted to, she wasn't. Not all the time. She was like, oh, you don't need to do that all the time. And as I mentioned before, Tony had a vision to grow Black women hair and specialize in textured hair. She has a term she calls bra strap beauties for the women whose hair length, when straightened and flat iron, fell below their bra strap. She even has a term from women that grew their hair to tailbone length. She's so awesome, and we had some fun with my hair over the years. I was an original bra strap beauty. I just want to say that for the record.
Amen.
So I only show the pictures on top to show that that's when I actually still had a relaxer. The photos up top, again, you'll see that in the book. But that's that is just how pure magic Tony was in blending. That was a sew-in. That was not my hair.
Oh, that was a sew-in.
Yes, because you took the close-up picture and the scalp to show how it was laid. Yes, how it was laid. Very, very nice. Now, the picture on the bottom, when she was helping me with my veil and my accessories on my wedding day. Now, that was my hair because I had colored it. You know, you go natural, then you get a little bit of length, then you start coloring. You start clowning, you color your hair, and then you don't realize what you do to it when you color it. And I had to go through that whole phase and that whole process. So yeah, that's what, yeah, yes.
Yeah.
So Tony has an impressive love for black textured hair. She always encouraged us to not get relaxers, even though it was more money for her. Typically, stylists would charge more to perm your hair than the normal shampoo, conditioner, and flat iron. But Tony advised against it. She'd explain how damaging it was to our hair. Tony is the type of hair specialist that will educate you about your hair. I remember she gave me a consultation before taking me on as a client. I knew then she was the type of person that I can vibe with. Her vision was to create a movement of pride in Black women hair. It was to prove against the myth that we couldn't have long hair. It was to inspire all women of this hair texture. It was to inspire young girls of this hair texture. It was to inspire the men of our race to see our beauty with this hair texture.
Amen.
I could be embellishing her vision a bit, but those words definitely illustrate my own vision for Black culture. It's the inspiration behind this book. And although no one asked me to be the one to write about it, I took on the task.
Amen.
The Type 4 experience. Without further ado, I would like to welcome to the stage Tony.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
That was such an
Hello.
awesome introduction. I just feel so honored, Tay. I do. But I am most definitely very, very passionate about texture hair. And the name of the hair growth program is Broad Strap Beauty. That's African American women or Black and brown women whose hair grow past their broad strap. That's the goal. When you come up in here, you can't leave, you can't play in your hair, and you can't chair hop until your hair is past your broad strap. And Tay is one of the original broad strap beauties. However, I did start a program called Wasted Women. That's the one she was talking about when she talked about your hair growing past your or to your tailbone. And it is exciting because that's the focus I'm on now, creating Wasted Women. But what do you anybody have any questions about what it is? Where should I direct my conversation, Tay?
But
Because I can
really,
talk about textured
I
hair
know,
all day.
I know. You know, it's just really about the cultural conversation, and we can kind of tailor it to some of the things that I speak about in the book, just
Okay.
from, hair maintenance, shampooing, conditioning, the hair care, regimen, the
You know
importance
what?
of.
Okay, this is what I'll do. Now, this can take 2 hours, but I'm just going to go ahead and start and tell you guys.
You have 7 minutes.
Okay, I'll say this. There are two levels of hair growth. You have the hair that grows out of your scalp and the hair that's already on your head. And the hair that grows out of the scalp is determined by what goes in your mouth. And when I say that, I know you guys are probably thinking food, which is true. You are what you eat. But when I say the hair that grows out of the scalp is determined by what goes in your mouth, I'm talking about water and supplements. You know, you have to take and Shantae knows a lot more about the supplements of growth, but I only suggest so many. I suggest the biotin, the B12 complex, at least 45 minutes of cardio daily, and drinking at least half your body weight in fluid ounces of water and your omega 3s. Those are very, very important but with a lot of African American women that live north, it's like they get really low on their iron and their vitamin D. So I like to add in there to take your iron, but a lot of African American women don't know that when taking an iron, they have to take it with a vitamin C in order for it to absorb. So I want to leave you guys with that. The hair is going to grow anyways. However, when you take certain supplements, it gives you energy to increase your metabolism. And as you increase your metabolism, that old blood that goes through the heart and that new blood that comes out is where the hair takes increase. And most of the time, that's with cardio. Did I leave y'all with something? Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, amen. So your
Yes.
hair is gonna grow anyways, but cardio increases the hair growth, and supplements help the hair to grow to a certain shine and texture. But the real key of keeping the hair on the head is with the second phase of hair growth, and that's the hair that's already on the scalp, which is the most important phase of seeing your length. And I would love to go into detail about that because there are about probably 10 to 15 things that a lot of people don't know about, but I'm going to end it right there. So y'all make sure y'all call me so I can give y'all the scoop on how to keep that hair on the head. Amen.
Please tell
Yes,
them where you
ma'am. Yes.
got it. Leave your information, how they can find you on the social. Before
And
we go.
listen, okay, amen. You guys can find me on all the social media platforms, but I would say the best way to contact me, I'm a big TikToker. So if y'all go on TikTok, I just be messing around on there, but you can always contact me on TikTok or brushstropbeauty.com. So Tony_Fairley at brushstropbeauty.com. Ask me any questions. Ask me the ebook, you guys.
Tony,
The textured hair growth regimen. And then that gives you the 411 on how to keep that hair on your head. Amen.
She even gave me a new task. She gave me a new follow-up to the type 4 experience of do's and don'ts.
Yes.
Tony,
Yeah,
She
I'm
gave
really
me an
excited about the
assignment,
type
y'all.
4. Yeah, amen. That's an awesome,
Tony.
awesome book. Yes.
I
Yes.
got one question. What can you do for my hair?
I can grow it out your scalp. Amen.
There it is. There it is. I want a butter. I want a butter by the end of the week.
Yes, yes. Tony is awesome. Again, she comes with that education and she gonna stay on top of you. She is a drill sergeant, okay?
I
She's
am.
not lying when she
Yes,
says
ma'am.
cardio. She will call you to see if you did your 30 minutes of cardio.
Yes, I will.
And so I'm going to just piggyback on that. So, of course, we said that in layman's terms and with the supplement. So, of course, that cardio, getting that heart rate up. Now your blood perfusion is going to be much more proficient throughout the body. So now blood flow is moving. You're drinking the water you need to do. You're thinning that blood. Now it's moving the way it needs to get. What's very important that's carried in the blood? Oxygen and nutrients. Okay, so you have those two very important things carried in the blood. So if you're doing that cardio and now it's going, that blood flow is going up, you're putting all the good stuff in, the water, the supplements, getting your micronutrients, macronutrients, your hair is going to grow.
Amen.
It's going to grow.
Grow.
Okay, everyone. So I am going to move on to our next panelist to speak. This person I have known since I was 15 years old. Children.
Yes.
I've met her in high school. We went to college together. We, oh my gosh, just so many years of fun. But besides being the bestest friend in the whole world, she was the first person that I saw not only go natural, but wear her afro. And this was over 20 years ago. See, nowadays, it's nothing. You see people, they locking their hair, they're doing all these things. But with the early 2000s, that was, you saw it and you went, okay, good for them. But I didn't have the courage to walk out there and do that. And at that time in my life, I was also working as a pharmacist at Walgreens. So now we're talking about the corporate world, where if you went in with your afro, they were like, oh, that's nice. And there was an unspoken, don't wear that tomorrow. So it's one of those things that, and I talk about that in the book, especially if you're a career woman, you're a corporate woman, you're an executive woman. But this lady here, and we're going to bring her on up because she is the founder of Division 2 Divinity, but she is one of the first people that did that in my closest circle. I've always admired her for it. It took me 10 years later to kind of catch on. Well, maybe a couple years, because I did go natural in 2008, but again, I didn't wear it natural. And she was out there, y'all. So let's bring to the stage Miss Latrice of Division 2 Divinity.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Hi to all the panelists. Hi to all the audience. Hi, guys. Thank you, Ms. Shantae. Thank you, Dr. Shantae, for having me on and allowing me to share my story. I'll go ahead and piggyback off of what you were saying. I started around 2001. So it was a long time ago, and I was in college. Now I will say before college, and I will try to make this brief. I will try my best. But before college, growing up, I saw pictures of my mom and my aunts back in the 70s and the 60s, and they had these big, beautiful afros because that's how a lot of women wore their hair back then. And I said, you know what? At some point in my life, I want a big old afro, right? But as a kid, you're thinking that'll be someday, and you never really plan it. But in college, I relaxed my hair the same as everybody else in my generation growing up. We permed our hair, we flat ironed it, did all of that, straightened it. And I was sitting in a class one day in college, and I had my head in my hand. And I was feeling my hair, and what was happening under the relaxed hair was what we call new growth. So when your hair starts growing under that perm, and that new growth starts coming in, a lot of people feel like, oh, it's time to go ahead and relax it again, right? But for me, I sat in that class and I really liked the way my hair felt. I loved my texture. I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to stop. I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to perm it anymore. I'm just going to grow it out because I really like my hair. And so at that point, I didn't cut it off or anything. I just kind of let it grow out. And so back then, there were no hair care products except the products we had for straight hair. There was pink oil moisturizer, there was Blue Magic and the stuff that our moms used, but there was nothing for natural hair. Also, there was no way to go. Like, I had no roadmap before me when it came to deciding how I was about to style my hair. Like this, I felt like an infant, right? And I've had this hair for about 20 years now, but here I am starting at the very beginning with learning my hair, right? So that was really daunting back then. It was kind of scary. And back then also, there was no, like, the internet wasn't what it is now. So I couldn't just Google hairstyles and stylists and things like that. So people who were deciding to go natural back then just had to figure it out, right? So, and that's what I did. That's what I did. And so that was also at a point where a good amount of time I kept my hair braided. Cornrows was the thing back then and stuff like that. Moved back home to Chicago from school, and I started wearing it natural more. It started to grow out more. By this time, I had more natural hair, right? And so I really have to figure out what to do with it, right? So Shantae was going to Miss Tony, and I went ahead and tagged along for that 30, 40-minute ride to Naperville to get my head touched by Miss Tony. And I was getting, like, back then, a lot of it was about convenience, and for the most part, not really knowing what to do with my hair outside of braids and sew-ins and stuff. So I was still trying to figure it out. But then one day, I challenged myself, and my company, Division to Divinity, is about mental and spiritual growth, right? It's about taking practical steps in your daily life for this personal growth and challenging self. So, and for me, this started way back then. This is a way of life for me. I just turned it into a business. I challenged myself to wear this big afro downtown Chicago in the middle of a workday back in 2005 sometime, when everybody has on their suits, their heels, everybody's hair is pressed, everybody's looking professional in professional attire. And here comes this little black girl walking down Dearborn or LaSalle or some street with this giant afro. And that was how I challenged myself to become comfortable in my own skin in spaces where it wasn't accepted. And it wasn't so much about pushing myself or forcing myself on anybody else. That was for me. So that was a huge step for me. And by, I don't know, divine intervention, I was affirmed in that moment, because that step I took, I was walking down the street and there was a sea of people around me, just a sea of sameness. I was walking one way, and walking towards me was a Black man with a big old afro. And we were just in the midst of all these suits. And when we saw each other, we didn't even have to speak. We just smiled and yeah, did one of those, because it was so affirming to see someone else, right? Because like Shantae said, at that time, nobody was wearing their hair out. It wasn't cool or hip or anything to be natural. It wasn't, so it was really amazing seeing that person, and me taking that step allowed spirit to affirm me in that moment, right? And moving along years later to about 2010, 2011, in the professional space myself, I was working at the University of Chicago. I worked at the University of Chicago for about 14 years, and I worked in a genetics laboratory. So I'm the only Black person there. I'm working in a genetics lab. I'm there for about 2-3 years, and everybody's used to seeing my hair. At that point, I think I was wearing comb coils, which is where you take the end of the rat tail comb and kind of coil it. So it kind of looks like locks or whatever, but either braids or that or whatever. But there was one weekend where I went out, and that Sunday night, I decided I was too tired to braid it down or do anything with it. I said, I'll figure it out early in the morning. I just wake up a little early in the morning and figure it out. I did not wake up early in the morning, and I did not get it figured out and braid it down before work. And so that moment forced me to just wear my hair out. And so I walked into the University of Chicago, this Ivy League Gothic school, right? Instantly, the reactions that I got years earlier from the people downtown were, it was a lot of stares. It was a lot of gasps and this, but it was like, why doesn't she do something with her hair? And why you come out the house without your hair done? Because natural hair isn't done, right? And so I was prepared for repercussions, but I said, hey, it is what it is. I'm coming to isolate some DNA and do some work. And so I'll just get through this work day and worry about it later. Lo and behold, I got the gasps, I got the looks, but they were all positive. Everyone loved it. Oh, I love your hair. Oh my God, it's so pretty. Oh, your texture here. So I'm like, oh, okay. And I get to work. All my coworkers loved it. And I did live there, but I worked in a very diverse environment, right? People from all over the world, India, China, all over. And so my lab was very diverse. And so the people in that lab from all over the world appreciated what they never even knew I had, right? It was like I had this secret superpower that I wasn't even showing anybody, right? And one of my Chinese coworkers, his name was Shin. And he had never seen Black hair before, but he had always seen my hair tied down. So I walk in with this fro, and he said, oh my God, what did you do? How did you get it like that? And I'm like, now I get to teach people what Black hair can do, right? Like we can wear it straight. We can braid it. We can wear it in a sew-in. We can wear it in a big afro. It's like this. It really is a gift, to be quite honest. And it was so wonderful to see other people appreciate it just in those few years of me walking downtown. What was that, 5-6 years later? Just in that short time span, people had come to appreciate Black hair and that bit of individuality, right? So my whole journey has been about independence. It's been about self-love and acceptance. And it's also been about self-exploration, because now, 25 years later, I did do the big chop. I had the afro, and I received a lot of death threats and people showing up at my house picketing, don't touch your hair. I even think Miss Tony threatened me, don't cut your hair. Don't touch your hair. You got all that pretty hair. Don't touch it. And me and Tony spent a lot of time helping me to grow my hair and helping maintain it, everything. Don't touch your hair. And so I was like, that is great. That's great. But along with having that beautiful hair comes a lot of sitting in chairs for hours. It's a lot of maintenance. It's a lot of cost for hair care products, right? And so I said, yeah, I'm tired. I've appreciated it. I want to appreciate having my time and energy back right now. So I did the big chop. But even with that comes a whole host of psychological things that you go through because as women, especially, our womanhood, our femininity is tied to our hair, the softness of our hair, the length of our hair, right? This hair, the way it's curly and the shape of it and everything is more masculine, right? So you women kind of worry, well, I don't want to look like a man. I don't want to look like da, 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 when it comes to the big chop. But once again, with me, this is about embracing who I am as an individual. It's not about anybody else's perceptions of me. So this was me pushing myself once again, 20 something odd years later, right? And it took time, just like anything else, just like the beginning when I was growing my hair out, it took a little time to go ahead and figure out what style works for me. Because if you're a woman that has her hair short, or like all the guys know, there are tons of ways they can fade your hair. It can be boxy, it can be curved. So I have a drop fade, right? And I like it more curvy. I had to work with my barber for years just to find something that accentuated me, not as a woman, not as a black woman, not just as a lesbian, but as someone who, just as an individual, me, right? And this style that I finally arrived at 20 something years after my journey represents me, right? And who I am, right? So I hope that wasn't too far over 7 minutes. I really do. I just had to go ahead and get it out. But just a taint. But thank you all for thank you so much.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Thank you for that perspective, because that's
Yes.
what this is. This is a conversation because each one of us has a type 4 experience. This is why I call everyone either on the panel or into the studio audience and those who are watching us live. We all have a story, and I just want to help get those stories out because you'll find that we have so much more in common than that. The next person I'm bringing up.
Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you all for your time and your valuable attention. And Roland, you may not be able to be a bra strap beauty, right? But you can be a bicep beauty. Okay, I'll let you have that, bro. You can be a bicep buff. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But thank you guys. Thank you.
So the next person that I'm bringing on to the panel, this person, I wanted to have diversity, certainly in the ages. This person comes from Gen Z. Okay. She is a licensed esthetician from Dallas. She is Imani, and she has been natural since middle school. So we got a Gen Zer here on the line that's going to share her type 4 experience. Imani, come on up, yay!
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Like she said, I am her niece. I have been wearing my natural hair since the 8th grade. I feel like that was 10 years ago now. I have no idea, but as we can see, I'm still out here natural, still rocking the fro in the corporate world. And yeah, so I'm just going to share a little bit about my story. I grew up seeing my aunt a bra strap beauty. She was the bomb.com to me. I absolutely loved my aunt's natural hair. Even the couple times that she did take me to Miss Tony's salon, I was mesmerized. I enjoyed sitting there, the whole process, everything like that. And I remember I had one relaxer in 7th grade. And I was like, I think I told my aunt, like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like straightening my hair every day and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure I asked my aunt, like, can you teach me how to take care of my natural hair? And that same drive that my aunt was taking to Naperville, she was taking to Schaumburg to come get me so that I can do my hair every single week. She showed me how to deep condition my hair, oil my hair. She told me about my vitamins. And Miss Tony, I took notes about the vitamins. I need to grow my bra strap hair because I've been telling my husband, like, that's my goal right now, to really grow my hair. But yeah, she would come and get me every single week for probably about my whole 8th grade year and show me, you know, how to do my hair, my twist outs and things like that. And I remember me not wanting to wear my hair in mini twists. I was like, absolutely not. Like, I don't like that. Like, it needs to be done same day, things like that. And now, today, 10 days later, if I'm not feeling like doing my hair, I will keep those mini twists in for a week. And I work in the corporate setting, and I'll go and they'll be like, "Oh my God, your hair is so beautiful. I love your twist, all that." And I'm like, "Yep, I'll wear those mini twists very, very beautifully and have no problem with it at all. Put that oil on myself and go about my business." But yeah, so I've been natural for the past 10 years, but I also have been, I would say, a full-blown natural for the past 2 years. I haven't gotten braids or any sew-ins or anything like that in 2 years. So every single week, it is me in the shampoo chair, unless I go see my stylist for my trim. But it's me, myself, and I have grown my hair. I've done 3 big chops. But now I'm on my journey to bra strap beauty. Being a bra strap beauty, I really am. I'm hoping she take virtual clients, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm gonna update you guys. But yeah, I love wearing my natural hair. Even for me, like wearing my natural hair after, you know, something major in life happened 2 years ago, it was a self-discovery process. I really felt like as I got closer to God that he wanted me to go natural and he wanted me to be that example for others. And I feel like me learning to love myself with my natural hair, but I also stopped wearing makeup. And I was just completely natural in the workplace. I work at Nordstrom's in the beauty department. So, you know, you would expect me to be full blown, you know, maybe straight hair, full face of makeup, you know, my professional clothes. I wear my professional clothes, but I make sure my skin is beautiful, hence the fact that I'm an esthetician. And I make sure that my hair is done. And that's pretty much it. Even if I have my mini twist on and they know, don't expect me to come in there with no makeup, and they've only seen me with my hair straightened one time, and I've worked there for a year. It's just me. This is who I am. And I love that about me. And even when I met my husband a year ago, him and his family, they had dreams about me, and I had natural hair in those dreams. I had an afro. And for me, it reminded me, not even reminded me, but it also affirmed me and really empowered me that that is how God intended to be. That is, you know, truly who I am to him. And of course, I've always been that way in all factors, but it's very liberating for me being a Black woman, a young Black woman in the corporate setting in a predominantly white area, having natural hair. And even on the hard days when I don't want to do my hair or it's too much, I still love my hair. I'll be honest with you guys, before this broadcast, my hair was in a bun. Did a little fluffing, and we looking good today. So it's just the type 4 experience. I took a nap, everything at my facial studio about 3 hours ago, and you would not even be able to tell it. So I'm just fluffing my way out and hoping to become a bra strap beauty in the future. And yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Imani. Thank you so much for your commentary. That's the experience. Literally, you could be in a ponytail and then you let it go, and it just, you know, that's my subtanning. Mm-hmm. It's big, it's curly, it can't be tamed. Okay, mm-hmm. We have a process with our hair. Oh, wow. This is lovely. Thank you guys for sharing your commentary. I'm going to move on to our next panelist. And this gentleman we're going to bring up. I'm just so proud to have him here. At the very conception of Enchante Beauty, because it's not just a book, but it also tells the story of the birth of Enchante Beauty and Health, my product line of natural hair, bath, and body products that stemmed from another unfortunate circumstance. But nonetheless, I started working on it. I was introduced to this gentleman by a really good friend of mine. Her name is Crystal. And she said, you got to talk to him. He's going into this business for logos, designs, any and every logo that you see that I am affiliated with, from Enchante Beauty and Health to Dr. Shante, to NCNM University, to NCNMU Health, to the NapraCare Network, to the book cover of the Type 4 Experience, Mr. Brandon Fales of Art of Life Unlimited. Come on up.
Hello, everybody. That just means I spend a lot of time on Photoshop. That's really the gist of everything. Hey everybody. My name is Brandon.
Hey.
Yes, and it's funny when she reached out and she said, "Hey, I want you to be a part of this panel because I know you rock your natural hair too." I said, "Yeah, I don't know, because me and Shea Butter, a little water, we've been working it out for quite some time." Um, to start though, seriously, my hair journey has really been a journey throughout my years. Um, Honestly, I think it took for me to get into my 20s to say, well, as brothers, we really have like 4 hairstyles pretty much. We've had bald, like Brother Rowe. We have afro, we have braids, or we have dreads. And as a artist of a few different disciplines, one of the biggest things in conversation is how we separate ourselves from everybody else, our individuality, to show our art. And so, I started on a whole journey with that. What does my look like as I am, right? And brothers, we kind of get into our simple, let's stay with the flow of things. This is how this is supposed to look. Let me shave it off. Let me get my fade. Let me get my waves. And that's it. And after a while, because I really do have some pretty nice wavy hair. I'll let people tell you that story, not me. It became, well, what else can you look like? And so after a while, I started to do a deep dive on Black men's hair throughout generations. And I came across this look from the 1930s to the 1960s. White men had this comb over hairstyle or pompadour. And brothers trying to keep up with it, we used to process, the old phrase, fried, dyed, laid to the side. That style was called a conk or a cockaline, CONK. And so I was looking at a lot of those pictures. One that really stood out that you may, and this kind of ties into Juneteenth, Brother Malcolm X. If you saw the movie or you read his autobiography, he had this incident where his hair got super processed, and it was a pain how we read or how we saw it. So I was like, that's a cool look, but I don't know if I want to do that with all the chemicals. So I kind of played around with my hair to kind of see how I can pull that off without frying up my scalp. All right. So after a while, pomade, which didn't agree with my scalp, we started to move into things like shea butter. If it's heavy enough on the apply, it'll keep it down without a lot of stray hairs and things like that. And I remember going outside for the first time with this look and being, you get those eyes like, he's an alien. Where is he from? Who is this? And then, something else. Other cultures, when they see our hair, other cultures would want to touch, feel. What is that? Well, imagine getting that from your own folks. Like, what's that? Oh, wow. Cool. So that was my first experience going outside with it. And fortunately, I started this look while being in business for myself. So there wasn't a lot of, hey, well, what is the manager going to say about your appearance and things like that. It was just me, being me. And it really brought a sense of comfort for self. And this is the look. This is where I am now with it, So that's my contribution as far as my look, as far as my hair goes. as a Black man looking at sisters in all of our fun ways of appreciating women. When it comes to hair, honestly, from my perspective, I find a lot of joy in whatever your originality is, whatever your look is, right? And that could be short hair, that could be long hair. It could be braided, it could be natural, it can be laid flat. I believe it's more so to your personality, it's more so to who you are. And I know a lot of sisters draw some of that strength and some of that personality from how they keep their hair. And so when you see a woman that does, y'all call it the big chop, when you see some women that have that look, what I've noticed is that some of those sisters, they are coming from a transformation of self at that time. And it's beautiful. Sometimes it shows a lot of strength. You know, same thing when some women go on their natural dread journey, their lock journey. When they get through the ugly phase, it's almost like you can't talk to them. You can't tell them anything. They just came through a whole world of patience and other things, and how they say they learn different parts of themselves just from that journey. Being someone who's worked with Dr. Shantae for the amount of years that we've been working together, just when I first met her, she had it was a blowout at that shoot, right? It was like froey, it was a little curly, right? And I remember us having that conversation and changing information. Then we talked further. I saw you again, and your hair was like almost like how it is now. I think it was. If it's been years, so. And just seeing the flexibility of being able to go from one look to another, and it's just, I appreciate that, and I appreciate that of many women that I know and work with. So yeah, that's a little bit about Brandon right there. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Because I know with the gentlemen that I've asked to come on the panel, they're like, well, wait a minute, how can I contribute to the conversation? And I'm like, well, you have a story. You have a story. Everyone that was invited has a story, and that's why they were invited. But there's also something else that links you and ties you to the Type 4 experience, this journey with me. So I thank you so much for your commentary. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to move right along to our next person. I want to introduce this lady here. I met her on Clubhouse. You guys remember when that was real big, where you just showed up and you were just talking. So I met her on Clubhouse. And when I tell you that every time I talk to this woman, there's a nugget. There's something that I learned from her. And then after that, I went to a few sessions that she had on Clubhouse. It kind of fizzled out a little bit, at least Clubhouse. And then I circled back around and I saw her at an event. It was a Greek event where I was helping one of my school board members get petitions, signatures, because she was running for a Cook County judge. And so I was like, oh, I know you. So, because I heard her voice. I had never, I've seen, like, of course, pictures on Facebook, but you never really know what a person looks like, not just based on their profile. It was her voice that I heard, because that's how we met first. So I am going to bring Miss LaDonna Ray to and I also want to mention too that even after that, I joined her show and we had a nice 50-minute conversation about life after divorce. She has a show, it was called Happily Divorced, that she co-hosted with her ex-husband, no less. And it was a very interesting show. She invited me on to speak about my experience as someone that went through a divorce as well. And so, without further ado, I want to bring to the stage Miss LaDonna Ray. Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Yeah,
how you doing?
I'm good. I see that everybody is here. These stories are amazing. I'm listening and I'm like, oh, I'm still like, I don't know what to do. I got braids today. So My hair journey began when I was about 12 years old. My mother started perming my hair when I was 6. Um, 6 years old, I never knew what my texture was, and I always knew that I got a perm, it burned, I had scabs, whatever. But when I was 12, I had to have an emergency operation on my head. And when I had that, they had I had a big chop. I had no choice because in order to perform head surgery, they had to shave my head bald. When my hair started growing back, I was told I cannot perm my hair. Let that sit for a minute. Okay. So at 12 years old, I'm like, I can't perm my hair. Back then, wasn't no wigs and weaves and none of that. Okay. I just had to let it grow out. And on top of that, I didn't know what to do with my hair texture. So my hair texture came in frizzy. I didn't know what to do. Long story shorter, I had to roll like that for a few years. My mother bought me a wig. Back then, they weren't lace fronts. Okay, so I was a 12-year-old with a big glob of hair on my head that wasn't real. I got into a few fights. Yes, I beat them up. Those were boys. But anyway, when I finally got the clear to go ahead and perm my hair, I ran right back to the hair crack, right back to it. And it was because of acceptance. But here's what I didn't realize. My grandmother was a beautician and a teacher. She did not like natural hair, but that was because in her time, perm was in, perm was that was professional. But I had to learn over the years that we have wearable technology. And so I ran to the hair crack until 2004. I remember the day I was in LA and all these LA beauties that look like me had natural hair. And I was like, what is going on here? It's the sun. I can't do that. Long story short, I'll say that a few times. I stopped perming. I went cold turkey. Plus, I was having migraines. I'm like, I'm going to stop drinking, cussing, and perming my hair. Okay. I went back to drinking and cussing, but I never went back to perming my hair. So I don't even drink that much. Let me make that clear. But I never went back to perming my hair, but I also didn't even know what to do with my hair. So it wasn't like I had natural hair and I was in there getting it in. But just recently, I thought about how was it that I was 8 and 9 years old styling my hair? Like I would have a different style every day, little twists, little barrettes and stuff. And as an adult, I have no clue what to do with my hair. So if I'm not sitting in someone's chair, I have no clue what to do. So I've run to the braids, the sew-ins. I've worn weave for 20 years. I finally just got tired of it. Now that I'm getting older, I have more friends and family that have dealt with cancer. And I'm looking at them losing their hair. And I'm like, I'm not even appreciating my hair while I have it. On top of that, I've got a lot of sparkly hair going on. Y'all know what I mean by sparkly hair. So now that's in the way. It's like if it's not straight, it's not black. It's now I got this to deal with. It's always something. So I'm in need of help, but the transition has been horrible for me. Y'all have good stories. I heard the violins playing and the trumpets, but baby, bye. I'm still playing the horror movie about my hair because it is definitely a journey that I need to hurry up and figure out. Otherwise, well, I'll have to come and see you, Miss. Come see Tony. I'm about to do something. But yeah, that is the gist of my journey. I've even been treated differently based on my hairstyle. So I remember dating a guy. When he met me, I was wearing the weave and I was on his arm. When I decided to give myself a break, he treated me differently. And I noticed it because I did it several times, and each time he was consistent. So we have a mentality that has to transition as well, because just like the young lady said, Latrice, I believe you said your coworkers loved it and your face lit up. And it's like, please don't take this the wrong way. We still look for validation. It's like when someone looks at you crazy, you're like, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have done that. My bad. But when people embrace it, you embrace it. And it's like I'm tired. I'm beyond frustrated. So there, that's my story. I'm in braids today with natural hair. No, nothing was added except hair color. Okay. But our hair, again, is wearable technology. It can absorb the sun and the UV rays and protect our scalp naturally. What did I just do all those years that I stripped my hair and colored it blonde? I've been blonde forever. And I don't miss my blonde because I feel like I'm a fraud. I'm not supposed to be blonde. You know what I mean? So I'm going through this journey. But I digress. I know I talked in a few circles. I hope you could keep up with me.
Oh yeah.
That
There
was
you
a
go.
good conversation. You know what? You talking
Yes.
about your transition from relaxer to natural. You said it was disastrous, and that is so true. That happened to a lot of people because a lot of professionals aren't properly educated on textured hair. Unfortunately, in beauty school, they teach us about straight hair, and they have assumptions of how textured hair works, and it's all wrong. It's all wrong. Most of it is wrong, and unfortunate. A lot of black women do look for validation when they wear their natural hair. That's why even when their hair is natural, they still want it blow dried and straightened because of fitting in. You know, most of us are stimulated to the ideas of the image that we create for ourselves. But making that transition is not just your fault that it was disastrous. It's the I would say it's the failure of the beauty industry to not acknowledge. They are now though. They
Yeah.
are acknowledging the black woman. However, a lot of professionals are responding abusive towards textured hair or people with textured hair because of their own ignorance or insecurity of not knowing how to care for it properly. And so that's why you have a lot of um, women and men feeling wanting to receive validation because they always been treated as if their hair is wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I went to beauty school and dropped out. I really did. And it wasn't for me, but and that's because I did not see a way to style and do our own hair. I was confused. But on aside from that, in in having natural hair and all these natural products, they're not really natural products. They're not
Right.
really for our hair. So I've got a closet full of stuff I need to throw out because when it
Mhm.
says natural, you jump to it, you jump in it, and it's not really for your hair. I've
That's
almost
true. A lot
gone
of
back
it.
to the relaxer a couple of times. I was like, yeah, I just,
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't
I
do
won't.
it.
I
But you
won't.
know
I
what?
won't.
Just because something says it's natural, they're probably, it's like what do you call it?
A
I don't know.
gimmick.
It is. It is. And so you
Yeah.
have to
Marketing.
try certain products for your hair. But this is one thing I can leave you with. Don't get anything that has alcohol in it if your hair is dry. Don't get anything with protein in it if your hair is dry. And don't get me wrong now, the brother with the wavy hair, he can utilize some protein every now and then, Brandon, because of the texture of your hair. You don't want your hair to go limp. But most of us I would direct you guys towards intense moisturizers. Stay away from clarifiers unless you are using like those heavy waxes in your hair. You can utilize a clarifier then to cleanse all the product out, but you got to go back in with a moisturizer. But this is the thing about moisturizing. There is no cookie cutter when it comes to conditioning hair. It's always a combination conditioning because even with moisturizing your hair most of the time, makes your hair soft. When you do decide to flat iron it, you can get what they call heat damage because the hair is so soft. When you flatten it, it'll stay flat. It'll stay straight. And that's because you're constantly using the same moisturizing conditioner when your hair done already got soft. Now your hair can get soft. Your hair can get so soft to whereas when you flat iron it, it'll stay straight and you don't want to do that. So there's always a custom treatment for your everyday because your conditioner can change every week depending on your lifestyle, how much you travel, the weather conditions, all of that play a role. But the transition from relaxer um, to natural hair is not hard over here at Broad Strap Beauty. There ain't no big shop over here. You know, you can still keep your relaxer on your hair while you growing that natural hair out. But that all comes with education. And you know, I'll come with that later, or you guys can inbox me and I can send you the ebook over, or Shantae can have it included in this. But it can make life easier. It's all about conditioning, and your, like I said, your conditioners change all the time, but you just have to learn how to monitor and to detect the change in the texture of your hair.
Yeah. And you know, it's kind of hard to know what to do even in that sense, because now you've got type 4, C, A, B. I mean, I don't know how to find out what type hair I
It
have.
changes. It changes because most people start out with type 4, but when you're done with when you're conditioning your hair properly, your texture changes. Your texture will change with your supplements. You
Hmm.
know, your texture will change. You can change your texture from a coily to a curly. You know, all of that happens, and that can change with you not conditioning it properly, with you putting proteins in, and with you not taking your supplements. So all of that changes. But that's the key to, you know, the Bible says, "My people perish because of the lack of knowledge." But once you learn how a texture can change and how you can change your texture, the chemistry, once you learn the chemistry of combination conditioning, that's where the key comes in, because that new hair that grows out of the scalp is totally different from that hair that's been all up under the sun. You know, so when you have that older hair that's further on the ends, you're conditioning that with something totally different from that new hair that just grew out at the roots. And all that comes with education, and it takes time, right? But after a while, your hair, you will get used to a certain texture, because some people don't like their hair super thick. Some people mistake dryness for hard or nappy. And the truth of the matter is, I would say about 85 to 90% of African American hair is not nappy at all.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
it's a misconception. So when people hear type 4, they think the hardest or the thickest. And the truth of the matter is, it's just the size of the coil. You know, so it's like you can have a type 4 and you can have a coil to your hair, but your hair can be really fine and soft. You know, and all of those things changes, and there are so many different dynamics in it. But there is a medium where most hair texture can still have that weight, that sheen, and that volume, and that just comes with education.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, this is all great conversations. I love it. I love it. And I do want to mention that inside of the book, I do go over the Andre Walker hair typing system, and I define the curls, what the patterns look like. But something else that I mentioned in there too is, like, I don't necessarily subscribe to 4A, 4B, 4C, and I've even seen the subcategory 4D. I don't know what that is, but I've seen and heard of it. The reason I don't subscribe to it, and this is kind of, you know, piggybacking off of what Tony is saying, because I find all of those descriptions throughout my head. Like, the front of my head could be 4A, the crown could be 4C, the back could be 4B. And I'm like, what? No, I'm just type 4. I'm just type 4. We're just going to leave it there. I'm not going to say I'm 4A, I'm 4C here. I got all of it. In my head, I can find every one of those descriptions in my head. And that is why I just said, hey, the type 4 experience, because you're going to find it all. And then definitely, depending on how often you're conditioning your hair, how often you're stretching that curl, that's also changing the curl pattern. When I was always getting blowouts and flat irons, I was loosening that coil. It wasn't going to pop back. And I talk about that, those people that think they could have jumped back and forth, that's going to jump back and forth. Yes. So we're going to definitely get to the questions, but I'm going to bring up my last panelist to speak. Last but certainly not least, we're going to because he asked about becoming a bra strap beauty. But anyway, I am going to bring on Mr. Ro Davis of Flip That Hood University that has a type 4 experience. Believe it or not, he has a story to tell. I know everyone's thinking, like, well, how did he come into the conversation? Trust me, you will not be disappointed by this story. Ro, come on up. Come on up.
Well, first of all, let me say congratulations, Dr. Shante. I know that this book and this entire movement has been a journey, and it's been a work in progress. And I feel like I've been a part of that journey during the process of knowing you. So it is very exciting to see this manifest. And I'll tell you guys, I didn't know that there was such a thing as level 4. I just thought my hair was nappy. I had very coarse hair. And, you know, one of the things that I think that I heard somebody mention, may have been you, Shante, but, you know, your hair and finding how to properly wear your hair to go with your head type and all of these things is really a self-esteem issue. You know, many people have come out of their shell, and part of coming out of their shell has been in finding the right hairstyle. So for me, you know, when I was younger, because I got one of these weird heads, right? So for me, it was always a self-esteem issue. I got teased a lot because, you know, my head was different. So as I, you know, grew up, you know, I would try to wear it with, you know, where I could use the hair to cover up those things, because even though I kind of grew out of being teased and things of that nature, it was still a huge self-esteem issue for me. And I used hair to try and mask what I thought was weird about myself. So this, for me, I've never really shared this publicly. So I'm doing so now. And I grew up, you know, I'm 54 years old. So I grew up doing the S curl, the Jerry curl, and the carefree curl era. You know, you wasn't cool if you didn't have a butter like Michael Jackson and all of those people, right? So I had, you know, quite a bit of hair that I would always try to S curl or carefree curl. I was trying everything. I didn't know it was a level 4 hair. Again, I thought I was just a guy with nappy hair, and none of the stuff would ever work. I might have a few curls at the top, but it was definitely, what did you say, level 4 at the roots. And I think when I looked in the mirror, I thought I had an S curl, but in the back it was nappy as hell. So I don't know, maybe if I would have met Tony, your hairstylist, she could have found a way to deal with the coils, but for me it didn't work. And I was constantly putting these relaxers on my head, trying to get it to soften up like I had seen other people, so that I could have, quote unquote, what they say, or what they call good hair.
Good hair.
But it never worked. In fact, I started losing my hair at the top. And, you know, my hair started thinning, which probably had more to do with the fact that you take the attributes from your mother's side of the fence. But so for me, my hairstyle has been a journey of acceptance of myself and just everything about me. And so as my hair began to thin, you know, I started cutting it lower and lower. And even that, you know, was a difficult task. So, and the nightmare that I had always thought, because I was always using my hair to kind of cover up different things that I was uncomfortable with. One of my greatest fears was ever getting to the point where I am now. And there was one time when I lived with my cousin for a while. You know, guys are very honest. You know, they don't sugarcoat things. And so one day, after the market had crashed back in 2007, you know, I was still running to the barber you know, even though my pockets was low, I was still running to the barber every week. And one day, you know, my cousin, knowing my financial situation, he said, you know, I don't know why you're running down there and letting that man take your money. If you just want me to position your head and move around like I'm doing something, I can do that for you. Give me that $20. But you need to let it go. And so that's exactly what I did. I mean, it was difficult, but I never wanted to be one of those guys, because people never tell you that you don't have no hair at the top. You have that little lip and everywhere where you can see yourself, but the people that's looking over you when you're sitting down can see that you bald, but they never had the balls to tell you that you're going bald. So I never wanted to be that guy. So I just decided to embrace and own the reality. And when I did, what was so powerful about it is that I literally found finally a style where I could be totally authentic, because it exposed for me the thing that I was running from that actually turned out to be an asset. And so for me today, you know, I'm comfortable in my skin. My journey may be a little bit different, because I don't know, maybe Tony can give me a butter. I don't even think I want the butter no more, Tony. You got to find a new thing to do for me, right? But that's my experience. And so today, you know, some of us are not fortunate to be like Latrice and have an afro. You know, that's probably not in my future. But this is, I'm comfortable today. So that's my story.
I feel like Tony can make it happen for you. Don't give up. Don't give up. I feel like she can.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Tony. Shantae has been talking about Tony for so long. Tony, she really has gotten a lot from her experience with you. I'm really looking forward to meeting you. And
Amen.
I can see that you are a master at your craft. So.
Amen.
You know what?
Amen.
I just want to say, Tony, I can't imagine. You need a whole, let me add a whole nother thing for you to work on. Touched by Tony. Like, you need some kind of broadcast or something where everybody that you've impacted just comes together, like a conference or something. Like, girl, I was touched by Tony and she yeah, like, yeah. Cause
that would be fun. I'm gonna have to ask Shantae to put something together like that.
Yeah.
Segment together, touched by Tony. We're gonna get a segment.
Yes.
We're gonna do that. Oh my goodness, you guys! I can't believe this hour and a half has passed by so fast. This has been awesome.
That wasn't enough time.
But I definitely want to take a moment for the people who are a part of the virtual studio audience and to bring in some of the comments and questions and things that we have going on over here. Miss Bree, if you're on, are you able to showcase anything, any questions, any relevant comments? What are you doing in the studio audience? You're supposed to be on the panel. Treese, your sister.
I know.
That was my lock person.
Oh, yes. And her journey. Maybe she can get in on the next one, because her journey.
That's okay. We could do that right on from here. I can do it right on from here. Miss Nee, we see you in the comments. Where you at? I just sent you an invite to join the panel. She was one of the other panelists. I thought maybe she had like a Juneteenth activity or something too. So we have time. You sure? You sure?
Somebody sent a question about their son, Tay.
That's my sister. And that's a really good question, because he's on a hair journey too. And he needs to know how to care for it. Yes, he wants to grow. When he was a baby, he had this beautiful head of like this big, beautiful afro. And I think at some point his dad cut it, or they wanted it cut. His dad wanted it cut. But now, ever since then, like as a young man, he's 16 now, he's trying to grow it back. And so Yeah, yeah.
And
So
you
I
know,
need to
by
actually
him
put
being
you
so
all in touch
young,
with each other too.
Okay.
yeah, give
Well,
me
Yeah.
his
you know what? I'm going to
Go ahead.
start off with, because this was supposed to be one of our panelists, because she has a story, a journey, a type 4. As you can see her hair, you see the glory, you see it.
Let's
We're
see.
going to 5 minutes. I was going to do something else, but I got to. We're going to squeeze in this time for you to speak. We're going to bring Miss Neat. Come on
And
up.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I want to apologize first because you sent the messages, and I'm one of those people who's like, okay, she sent the message, and here we go. But I didn't follow up with you, so I should have followed up with you, and then we could have made that work. But my oh girl, with so much to say about, there's my journey and then my children's journey, which is a journey for me and trying to figure out what's best for them, because their hair is quite like mine but a little bit different, because what works for me doesn't necessarily work for them. So trying to figure that out, because like it was mentioned before, you spend so much money on products, you hope that this here $300 worth of work for the house. But and going through and trying to figure out, other steps is crazy. So with my son in particular, I mentioned in the comments, he had a lot of hair. A lot of hair. His hair, I had heartburn. My mama told me that when I was pregnant with the heartburn, he gonna have a lot of hair. And so he came out with a lot of hair. And so I would braid his hair, and sometimes I would just let it be. And same as what Treese was mentioning before, you're out and about and you have the people that love his hair, and then you have the people that are like, when's she gonna do something with that baby's head? And so I always felt some way, some type of way about that, because it's like his hair is done and it's fabulous. But the majority of the time that I got, she need to do something with that baby's head, was from our people. Brandon mentioned that earlier. And so his father felt some type of way and was like, he looked like a girl. He needed his hair cut. And so that was a struggle, but we were also going through a struggle at that time. And so he had him and he cut his hair. And now that he's becoming a young man, he wants his hair. He's looking at those pictures. He's remembering what it was. He's seeing the way the world is now, and girls tend to like a brother with some fancy hair, brother Brandon, and he wants his hair back. And we've tried the Mielle healthy hair. I went and got it so I could put it in the chat, right? The water, he's active, the fruits, the vegetables. I'm like, if you just eat right, if you just do this, everything will be okay. And we're going to hot oil treatment like my mama used to do. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And it's really not, it's just not. And so for him, and the same with my daughter, like she has a full thick head of hair, but it kind of stays right here. And it's like, I know what she's looking for, because mom did the big chop and hair is down to here. And I've cut my locks since, because they would be past my bottom, but they're struggling and I'm trying to help. So I went into the chat and Miss Tony, like, girl, what? Because I could get the Naperville and just put a couple gallons of gas in the, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't mind patronizing. Like, I support Black business, and my thing is, but for
Happy
those of
Juneteenth.
us, girl, for those of us, like, girl, what? Just what?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I want to say? A lot of people, okay, so like I said before, the baby's hair are really gonna, their hair is really gonna grow because they're so young. So their hair is constantly growing. I know it may not be hard for you to believe, but there really are two phases the hair grow. And that's the hair that grows out of the scalp, which is gonna happen anyway, as long as you're alive. But keeping the second phase is keeping the hair on the head, and that's where the educational part comes in for the kids. They have to know how to monitor and see when their hair is growing. They have to know the difference between new hair, new growth, and hair that's already been there. They have to stay consistent with their regimen. Any consistency with anything is where you can truly manage and monitor growth. or being fruitful in it.
That's
So
true.
it's like with them being, I have this young kid who cut his locks off when he was younger, and now he wants to grow them back. So what we did was we took his locks down, and then we started giving him twists and conditioners with just twists, 2-strand twists, because he wants his hair to grow long. And he, in his mind, he's thinking his hair isn't growing long, but I have to take progression photos for him, and I'm actually measuring his hair and showing him that his hair is growing. So your kids may think that their hair is not growing, but it is. But they have to be educated on how to measure it and monitor it to help keep them motivated. And also, even when tearing the hair, when manipulating hair is very important with the youth because they don't have the patience. They don't have the knowledge or the patience to know how to manipulate their hair properly, whereas it's not torn. Your hair grows a quarter of an inch to an inch and a half every 4 to 6 weeks, and you don't want to be tearing it off or having to get your ends clipped, whereas you don't see the growth. And all that comes, later in the ebook. Like I said, I'll have that's in the hair growth regimen, whereas you learn how to monitor and measure your hair for growth, and you
Because
can determine how long your hair is going to be after so many years.
okay, because when I go to clip her ends, dead hair, she has a fit. I'm like,
Now, just
don't.
so you know, broad strap beauties don't have a fit when it's time for them to get their hair cut because they
Okay,
know that their hair is going to grow. But this is the thing, you don't have to cut the hair as much as you think you do.
okay,
And that comes with education. A lot of people say dead hair, but your hair really does not have any lungs, so it don't have to breathe. You really
okay.
don't have
Huh.
blood vessels and all that in your hair, so your hair ain't alive or dead. And the only reason I'm saying that is because a lot of
Well,
people think that their hair breaks on its own, and the truth,
Ah, where did she
I want you
go?
guys to understand that your hair is
Oh,
period.
wait, sis.
I know my
You got
phone is
time?
blowing up. Sorry, guys.
You said the truth.
Right.
You think that?
What?
Right.
Everybody
The
was up
phone call
edge of that
just
seat,
coming
like, and then she just went away.
in. Right.
Don't
I
tell
was
the
like,
truth, sis. Don't tell the truth.
right. I don't want you guys to think that your hair has nerves and blood vessels or lungs in it. So it's not alive or dead, and it doesn't have to breathe. But if you think of your hair for what it is, which is a material, so
Hmm.
think of your hair like silk or rope or satin. When you think of your hair as a material, you can sit up. It's easier for you to understand the importance of taking care of it. Like when you're ironing a silk blouse, even though you set the iron on silk, you can't really just let that iron sit on that silk.
That's a fact.
Right? Even though it's set on silk and you just sit there and let the iron sit on that silk is going to get scorched. And it's the same thing with your hair. Even though you set your flat irons to a certain texture and you let it sit there, it can still scorch, burn, and fall off. Right? Or it can get too. So that's why texture and understand how your hair works with the flat iron set at this temperature, utilizing this conditioner really is a big deal, and is that knowledge is key. So once they understand how to monitor their hair and manipulate their hair properly, they'll know that they don't have to get their ends clipped for maybe once a year.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because damage comes from end clippings come from damaged hair, and damaged hair comes from you tearing your hair, and torn hair comes from entanglement, and entanglement comes from dry hair, right? But the hair itself is not breaking; it's you breaking the hair. So if you know that your hair is tangled and you hit a snap, crackle, pop, don't tear it,
Mhm.
don't comb it in that state. Let it be. That's why people with locks hair can grow so long because they're not in there manipulating it and tearing it.
Mhm.
So the hair is just there. But the weight of it can cause thinning because it's not shedding the old hair. But the hair is always growing. My point is this. The hair is always growing. You just got to learn how to keep it on the head. And then I can educate you guys on that in the next forum.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much. So yeah, and I go over that in the book, regimen, consistency. I have consistency in all capital letters. That is from Miss Tony's mouth herself, which
That's
she
a
was
big
telling me
deal.
over the years. Consistency. Okay. I have a
Consistency.
whole chapter. What is it? Chapter 3. No, that's the hair tools. Chapter 3 says the regimen. You see that calendar? You see that calendar in there? Yes. So yes, consistency. You have to plan what you're gonna do with your hair the way you plan anything else with your life.
Anything else?
So
Anything
you know what you're doing with it. You know when you're conditioning it. You know when it's time to clarify. You know when you're doing what you need to do for your hair. And I also mentioned in here there's an excerpt in a book when I used to talk about with one of my exes, how I used to say, "Oh, I'm trying to grow my hair," and he's like, "Well, what are you talking about? You're trying to grow your hair? Your hair just grows." And I'm like, "Okay, well, yeah, it does that." I guess what I'm saying is I'm on a hair retention challenge. It's not about growing the hair. I'm trying to see it get to another length. And so we may often say, I'm trying to grow my hair. Yeah, it does grow. You're living, you're breathing, you're alive. Your hair cells are multiplying and growing just like blood cells, bone cells. It's growing. It's about keeping the hair on your head so that you can see that growth. Because if you get an inch of new growth and then you lose an inch of hair, then you're at that plateau. So when you were talking about your daughter being at that plateau, like right there, it just stops right there.
Yeah.
That's because there could be over manipulation, drying, and and I do talk about the loss of hair. Like if it's not a medical condition or a medical reason or hormonal reason why you're losing the hair, it is because of over manipulation or some type of damage that could have been done through heat or some type of chemical processing. So that you really got to be patient, with your hair and just not do anything. My hair grew the absolute most when I did nothing. Nothing.
I feel like I love that you said that, and Miss Tony gave that education and you expounded upon it, because there's that space where you think because I was one of those kids that like changed my hair, but it was in the wrong space and was always in my mother was, she did hair, and you think and so it's like, leave it alone, stop messing in it. That what you treasure most, you lose. Like all of those little old sayings and different things. And it's like, well, don't be in it so much as deep condition it and let it go. But even still, because we don't, blow dry it as much. But apparently, if she's stuck here, then there's some over manipulation that I have to figure out. And can we just talk about being a single parent, trying to just figure out life? And now I got to add in hair routines.
Well, you know what? It's not as difficult as it sounds, because really there isn't anything.
It sounds difficult, sis.
Right.
Help me.
I know it sounds difficult, but it's not. It really, once you learn, you can bring the baby in for, and I can give them a treatment plan. A treatment plan is just right. It's just a year of a year treatment plan on how to do their hair, what products to use, when to do it, and how to do it. Once you learn, you just learn. You don't have to figure it out. Thank God. You don't have to figure it out, but just bring them in, and then I give them a scalp analysis, a hair analysis, and then we'll put together a treatment plan for them.
Well, it's done. I'm in my way.
Yeah,
right.
Because me.
And really, in all honesty, once you learn, you can't unlearn. And it's like their hair would never be that short again. Anybody that comes in the shop, once they learn, they can't unlearn. So their hair would never be that short again unless it's by choice, like a tree smooth.
She do that shit on purpose.
I tried getting Trees. One time Trees let her hair grow so long, and then she came back with it chopped. I said, ooh.
Because she hard
hates me.
And I have not been back since. Oh, I love it. Right. I love it. I love it.
Now, it grows.
Yes.
Yeah, some people just
it just grows. Yeah, it grows like over the course of like a couple months. Like I'll let it grow so it'll get to like this height, and it comes back and kind of curves forward. So I can kind of pull it into my face a little bit and do that. I can style it a little. I just chopped it low for the summer so I can let it grow up like a little bush again, but it
Amen.
grows. Now that I found what works for me, and this speaks to what LaDonna was saying, it's very expensive. Like I remember when Miss Jessie's first came out and trying that pudding and trying this product and trying Miele and trying this, different shampoos, different conditioners over the years. It's one thing to have black hair. It's one thing to have these black or natural products, but you literally have to experiment. It's about exploring and trying these different things. Thank God for someone like Miss Tony that can save you time, it can save you money, because you're spending all this money on these products and to no
Yeah.
avail, right?
Because
Like
I'm not
it's
going to feed Miss Tony. I can't keep experimenting.
yes, it's a lot. It's a lot. It costs money to experiment, and then
It
you
does.
end up back in the same place, right? And so
Yeah.
for people like me who have finally got there, like I've been studying hair chemistry and things. I had to concoct my own products and things for my hair. But like Miss Tony said, that comes with paying attention to my hair, the growth, the patterns, like understanding my hair, how to moisturize my hair, how often to touch my hair, moisturize it, do this and do that. I honestly get up, do a little of this, and then I'm good to go. But that came with literally paying attention to my head. And yeah. So yeah, it's a journey. It is a journey.
It's an experience.
Yeah. It's an experience. It is an experience.
For hair products,
That's true. That's true.
Don't become a product junkie. I talk about that.
Yes.
So I ended up giving all those products away, to be honest. And that is when I started making my own products. That's when I started doing it. I didn't like the way that the products felt on my hair. I didn't like it. It was like it just sat there, like nothing was happening. Or I ended up with a tangled mess in some kind of way. Like I started off, y'all saw the little girl in the video that was all motivated and she ready to do it. And then it's over here and this over here sticking like this. And that's what ends up happening. And that's for real. That's why I showed it, because it's so real. That has happened to all of us when we tried to get in the mirror and get started. I went and bought all those product brands and everything, and things that maybe that Treese may have recommended to me that was working for her. And then I went and tried it, and it was like,
It doesn't.
Yep.
Like, oh, come on, really?
Yep.
It just wasn't hitting. And so, you know, one of the pregnancies I had was a high risk pregnancy, and I was bedbound. I was on bed rest. I couldn't do pay-per-view. I couldn't do any of those things. And so I'm like, okay, I was laid off at the time. I was just in the house. And so I said, all right, you finna break out this mortar and presto, and you finna put these pharmacy skills to work, and you finna figure out what to put on your body. And really the Aunt Shantae hairline started with the Smooth Like Butter, a shea butter product that I made, all because I didn't want stretch marks. That's the only reason why I made it. And then it ended up evolving. And I said, well, if I can do this, then I want to do a body wash next. And so I went and I bought, well, not the body wash. I wanted to be able to cleanse. So I went and bought African black soap. But anyone who knows, who's ever bought that, it crumbles. It you know, so I had to make it into a formulation. I'm like, this is impractical. I'm trying to sit here. These little things are crumbling. It's falling in the shower drain. It's highly dissolved. It's, you know, this doesn't work. So I decided to make the body wash. And so Aunt Shantae Beauty started with the body line because of the things I was putting on my body. And it evolved to the hairline because I said, well, if you just made a body wash for your skin, then you can do a little something and make it a shampoo, right? And so that's when I started to do that. And I ended up with the oils, the hair growth oil that I use as a sealant to lock in moisture, and then also as a hot oil treatment. I don't recommend oiling our scalps. I know people gonna come for me. I don't recommend it because, you know, oil is a sealant. It sits on top. So if you take that oil and you do this, it's going to block Now there's no oxygen, no nothing getting that you know, and now
Because I felt my mama just walk in
and
the
then
room.
you're gonna start, it's gonna itch.
She got something to say about it.
You know, and so then you're gonna go up and go, oh, my hair growing, and then you doing this, and it's no, your scalp is inflamed. That's inflammation. It's red, it's there, and then now you have to wash it and cleanse it. So the only time that I recommend the oiling is during a hot oil treatment, which is a finite period of time that it's there, and then you're gonna go through the shampoo, deep condition, and everything, and then set in your hair. Once I learned to clear that scalp up and let it breathe, just let it breathe. Give it some oxygen. Just let it breathe. That is when it started just roaring like wildfire.
So my question, because while you were talking and you was like, don't oil the scalp. Like I grew up on the scalp oiling, like sit in between your mama legs.
I know.
The scalp.
I know. I know it's we have to unlearn a lot of things that was done before and learn new practices, because everything advances. Even medicine, things advance. Things from 30 years ago, they're not delivering babies the same way that they were 30, 40, 50 years ago. So why not, progress in hair care? And why that makes sense to me. That maybe something we were doing wasn't quite right. Maybe
so can I ask you
a lot of things
with the with those scalps or hair types or body types or whatever that like eat up, because back to my son, even when oiling his scalp, it like eats it up. Like I could oil the scalp tonight and come morning, it's a little vibrant, but come that evening, it's dry.
Right.
And there's dandruff, and so I feel like, okay, we need to oil this scalp more often. So when you're saying that that doesn't allow the scalp to breathe, what's the solution there?
So the solution is I came up with a new campaign. It's based off of one of my other products. I call it Aloe Hydrate the Scalp, right? Not oil the scalp, hydrate it, right? So instead of using something that's oil-based, using something that's water-based, that's going to absorb, that's going to moisturize, that's not going to seal. It's blocking. When you put that oil, it blocks. There's nothing getting in, and that's why you block moisture, you block everything. That's why it's so dry. And then especially if enough water intake isn't going in, because it's not always about what we put on, it's what we put in as well. And so we got to be able to balance that we're drinking enough water, that we're eating what we need to do, those supplements, especially the hair friendlies. I would recommend, I know Tony said like a B12 or something, but I would just say B complex, because the B vitamins stretch across 9 different kinds, and some of them are catalysts to one another. Some are interdependent of one another. You need one before this one start working right. So I just recommend B complex, and I would not tell you to do B1, B2, B3, B5, B9, B12. I would no B complex. Just get them all. And whatever your body doesn't use is going to excrete, because it's a water-soluble vitamin. So you're not going to overdose on a water-soluble vitamin like B complex. You're just going to excrete it through your urine, whatever you're not using. And then that is also an indicator that you have sufficient amounts. Your urine, just look at it.
Yeah.
That's it. So those are some of the things I talk about. The vitamins. Yeah, I get into the supplements and the vitamins and the foods and everything. I take a moment. I'm sorry. I got to mother everybody. Dr. Shantae's still in here. We take a moment to talk about the food, talk about exercise, in addition to the regimen, and then the hair tools, the different type of products. I tell people that, hey, if you have your tried and true, then use these techniques with your tried and true. But if you're looking for a new product, that's where the Shantae and this gift set here is for our winner, for our takeaway there. I have that there. But yeah, if you didn't have anything that you weren't using that's working, well, then I have something, because I've already tested it. Shantae Beauty is celebrating 10 years. So I started in 2014. So I'm gonna push more of it out, get it out there so that people can have access to it, be able to use it, and yeah. And then, okay, here's your guidebook, my story, which is all of our stories, and kind of, all of our stories. And here's a solution. You got something to mark along the way, and then everybody's journey there. I'm just excited about how people's hair journey is going to be moving forward with this new information, because it's from us, coming from us. I never wanted to tell people to do one thing and I'm doing something different. I wanted to be able to walk as an example and show, even in my hair as an example. As you can see right now, I'm in what I call a protective style. It's just 2-strand twists. And that's so that I can have my, frequent clarification of the scalp. I talk about that, clarifying shampoo, because when you go natural, a lot of times you get onto those, like when I went on to YouTube and everything, you have all these people, these influencers, they're like, oh, I don't even shampoo my hair but once a month. I don't use shampoo. I just use apple cider vinegar. Oh, I just use baking soda. And it was really confusing for me. Like, my story is very similar to Teresa's, to Imani's, to LaDonna. Like, there was nothing out there. There was no instruction. That's why I said I had to grow my hair over. This is the 4th head of hair. I had to keep doing it because of trial and error. Something happened. I lost hair. Okay, start back from the drawing board. Don't do that thing anymore. So this is the cheat sheet right here, because I've been through it already. And we're talking about since 2008, and it is 2024 now. And whereas most would have thought that, and some people could be going through where they're losing hair. Not me. I may have accidentally cut some when I was taking down a towel. That's happened.
Judea did that. Judea did that recently. She took her hair down and came in the room and was like, "Mom, does it look different?" And I'm like, well, that part right there is this long. So yeah, you cut your hair, and she's cut her hair in a couple of different places, taking down the protective style.
Yeah. And that's where the patience come from. I've done that many times over. I just did. I said, oh yeah, that's what you do. Cut your hair right before the launch. Yeah, that's what you do right before the launch. But I was rushing. I was rushing. I slowed down. I did. You can't see it because it's back here. So it's back in the corner, so nobody can see it. Because by the time I was like, oh, nobody will see that. I just revealed it. But yeah, I accidentally rushing through taking down this boho lock style where I had wrapped the hair around my twist, and I was like, oh, that's cute. And then I'm like, why is it looking like you cut your hair? So I slowed down and moved through it. It's a good problem to have. And I know some people looking like, really, I just want to grow. I just want to, but I really appreciate you guys for joining in on this conversation. I want this to be an ongoing conversation, because I know a lot of people may have been apprehensive. They weren't sure about, what are you guys going to be talking? What is she talking about? You want me to come on to this studio audience? Why? What are you guys talking about? And I didn't want to just share my type 4 experience. I wanted to share everyone else's type 4 experiences as well. We know, Brandon, you're not type 4, but you're natural. So there's still a community of people that still go through it. And that's why I go the extra mile, and I spell curly with a K for the kinks. Mm-hmm. Because there is a such thing as Afro curly. There is a such thing as kinky curly. But we're talking about Afro kinky curly. And there's a difference. And there wasn't a lot of representation out there for us. But a lot of the techniques and tips, people, it don't matter what kind of hair you got. If you follow these techniques, it's going to be a breeze for you, because we have the most high maintenance hair. It's like you breathe on it wrong, it breaks. Yeah. So we have to, be so careful with it, and we have to take our time with it. But again, just like the video said, the animated feature said, a little bit of work, a lot of love. That's it. So we're coming up to a close. We have our last 5 minutes. I want to look into.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interject. I've been holding something in ever since Brandon spoke. And I just want to say thank you, because you said something about seeing women and the big chop and the transformation and the strength behind it. And I'm like, thank you for seeing that. Thank you for appreciating that. I don't know if I mean, especially as a woman, like hearing that, because it does take courage for you to walk out here and do it despite what people say, or despite the looks, or despite whatever you get, and to keep going, because this is your journey and you are ultimately affirming yourself. And for someone else to see that and appreciate that, thank you so much, brother. I really do appreciate that. That means the world. So
You're welcome. Beyond welcome.
We're doing it for. We're doing it for y'all.
Wait, who?
Well, not you. The rest of us. That's what we're doing it for. But you know what? I was just talking to Brandon earlier, and I said, with us and our hair and what we're doing, we're trying to be attractive to our men, but it's hard to determine which comes first, the chicken or the egg, because when a standard of beauty has been, those Just For Me commercials have been in my face since my youth. So it's like, when a standard of beauty has been put in your face your whole life, and then here you are, you're like, well, but that doesn't, I don't look like, does that mean I'm beautiful? And so we were doing all of that so that we could fit in and be a part of that standard of beauty, is the way that we were taught, at least in my generation, for sure. And maybe even, and I would even say or argue generations before us, because some of our elders and our seniors now they would say, because I remember one time my mom said, I had my hair out and a twist out or something. She was like, oh, that's so cute. So when are you going to finish your hair? And I'm like, well, this is it. That's the do. It's done. Yep. That's the do. So when you have that, people think that done equated to that flat iron. Yeah, that was done. Yep. Like you were completely done with the flat iron. So just to go out in an afro and the in-between stages for me, because I don't do the afros as much. I love it to death, but I don't do it as much because it tangles. And that was another thing that I was going to say too, because of our shrinkage. The shrinkage of type 4 hair, it draws in so much, it defies gravity. That's why I said it can't be tamed. It just be clowning, so we got to do things to.
Because he took
constantly got it.
Look, I was watching him take the pen out of there. He's like, let me tell you something.
This is my gift. This is my gift to your whole hair, everybody. Yeah.
You know what? Go ahead, brother. Yeah.
It's freedom.
Go ahead.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Let me take the my new growth.
Go ahead.
I too have a gift. It's right here. It's right here.
Hey.
Because I come from that space. I come from that right there.
Listen, yeah.
We are. Look.
We are here.
Because it's a journey in and of itself, like Twist. I told Trees, I ain't ready for no live. I ain't twisted my hair. It's a pressure that it's gotta be right. And my daughter will be like, Mom, your hair is beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but if I'm gonna be presenting myself, I need to.
It has to be presentable, to be straight, and
me to get on this live with these twists in my head. It took everything to get what I know, and people know me. I said, nope, you got to do it.
And see, that's what's cool about our hair.
Oh, got to do it.
What's cool about our hair is we can redefine presentable.
Exactly, and that's what the journey is ultimately about.
Yeah.
But when you hear people say shrinkage, it does kind of get under my skin, because it's not, I don't like to say shrinkage. It's wearable technology, because when you get hot, your hair lifts up off of your neck so that you can stay cool. Whereas those that have different hair type, they need to stay warm. So theirs falls down on their shoulders. So ours is doing what it's supposed to do.
Let's get into the blackness of it.
The tea.
So
Well, but I mean, well, we use the term the shrinkage because some of us desire to wear more stretched styles. Like if you're cool with the afro, then that's cool. But if you're trying to be that bra strap beauty, what you call it, Tony? What's the other one? What's the waist? What you call that?
Wasted.
Wasted women.
Okay, because I'm trying to get to wasted. So when you're
Let's get wasted. I like how that.
Get wasted.
so when you're trying to get there, then you got to stretch it out. One of the things she always said is that the hairs, they got to go in the same direction. When it started doing this, tangling up on each other, and now you have to detangle. And I have some very specific steps about detangling hair properly.
The detangle works on the nerves.
Yeah, to help get those low. The product line, everything is pH balanced to smooth those cuticles over so the hair can slide right on over and make detangling effortless. Because when you got to spend hours detangling your hair when you first go natural, that'll make you go put that perm back in. So if you're just like, or cut it off. So either one or two things might happen. You either cut it off.
Is detangling.
It's just detangling. Yep. What chapter is that? Detangling is.
I cannot wait to see that chapter.
Yep.
Like LaDonna said, that creamy crack.
Detangling.
Make you run back to it.
Yeah.
We're gonna put some wings on LaDonna and get a billboard put up for the culture. We just go
because she been.
This thing is a thing, baby. It's a thing. Shantae, I really appreciated this conversation because from everyone who spoke, like from everyone who spoke, I most definitely resonate with what LaDonna was saying. Was this shit ain't cute? It's like it sound good, but this shit
bleep that out, John.
And you have your beautiful moments, and we love all of that. But there is so much conversation to have about this as it relates to our careers, as it relates to raising children and doing it, as it relates to the health of girl. This is dope. I love this because this opened up. This opened it up.
It's not over. It certainly is not over. We will have more conversations along the book tour. So I encourage everybody to be following Dr. Shantae RX everywhere. It's the same thing, all lowercase. Our next stop, we are tentatively scheduled for Afro Joe's Wednesday, July 10th from 7 to 8 p.m. I'll have a book signing there, but it will also be another Holistic Relationships Live that is going down. Afro Joe's is in the Beverly neighborhood of Chicago. I believe it's 98th or 99th in Longwood. So that is what we're setting up as one of the first stops on the book tour. And then you'll also see us in July at Face Your Image Salon. So we'll have a book signing. We'll have a book signing there, and we'll do a special show for holistic relationships there as well. I want to thank everybody who joined the virtual audience, people who are watching us live. Those are who are going to see us tomorrow and was like, dang, I should have been in that live. You can catch us again. You can catch us again because I'm going to be also tomorrow. I will be doing an interview about the book with the Blueprint Media. Same time tomorrow, 6:30. I'll have it going to my live feeds where we're going to talk more about it, the Type 4 experience. I'm going to keep that conversation going all summer long for the book. And then when I'm in other places, Miss Imani will be in Texas. So I'll let you know, and we'll do a live show, maybe hosted at her office. Little Miss Entrepreneur. I'm so proud of you, honey. And I just can't thank you guys enough for joining me for this conversation. For 99th and Longwood, thank you, Bree. Thank you all for joining us for the conversation. I hope you guys come back to some of the future broadcasts, maybe even in person in some of the places. The big launch, the in-person launch, stay tuned for that. I just couldn't let Juneteenth go by, so we did something quick, for the virtual launch, but we will be doing something much bigger. Y'all know how I do. I'm extra like that. So it's something else coming.
Hashtag Leo.
Hey.
Congratulations. Congratulations,
Thank you
Shantae.
guys so
Yes.
much.
Yes.
Congratulations, Shantae.
Congratulations, ma'am.
You
Yes.
all here. So we'll be ending the stream now for everybody. And I'll see you all next week, Wednesday Wellness Wednesday for holistic relationships. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Ciao.
Bye.